I'm joined now from Canberra by Nationals Senator for New South Wales, John Williams. John Williams, thanks for your company.
Thank you, Emma.
How would you vote in a plebiscite?
Well, I'd like to see how the final wash-up of it, Emma, see how the people in regional New South Wales and National Party held seats. I'd like to see how they vote. I see myself as a National Party senator representing regional New South Wales, and I'd go along with them.
But how would you vote personally in a plebiscite?
Oh, no, I wouldn't vote to change the marriage situation. I think marriage is between a man and a woman. I'll be sticking to that. It's what I believe in. It's what I grew up with. Is what I was taught, and it might be a bit old-fashioned to some, but I'll be sticking with the old way of marriage. Emma?
John Williams, clinging to old traditions were the arguments put forward to deny women and Aboriginal people the vote, to not treat them equally to men back 100 years or so ago. Yeah. With respect, what difference does it make to you whether marriage is extended, the right to marry is extended to gay and lesbian Australians?
Emma, to me, marriage is a Christian sacrament between a man and a woman. If they had another name for the...
It's legislation with respect. Civil celebrants can carry it out. It's
yeah,
not...
that's true. That's
and
true.
Jewish people can marry, Muslims can marry in this country. It's not strictly a Christian tradition.
No, it's not strictly, but it's what I believe in, and I've got to sleep at night with my conscience. It's what I believe in. It's what I've said this for years. That's what I believe in. That's what I'll be sticking to. But if they had another name for it, I'd support it tomorrow.
But then it wouldn't be equal to other Australians, would it? All it is declaring your love for someone, isn't it?
Well, do you have to be married to declare your love for someone? Many people I love, but I'm not married to them.
Yeah, but someone could say that to you about your own marriage. Let's move on. The Coalition lost...
Moving on's the best thing ever, Emma. Good on you.
The Coalition lost 15 seats at the last election. Could some of those losses have been the result of your steadfast refusal to budge on the plebiscite policy?
Well, I couldn't answer that question. I'm a National Party member. We went into the last Parliament with 15 lower house seats. We came out with 16, our votes went up.
Yeah, but you're part of a coalition government. Yeah,
we are part of government, but when it comes to parties, how the Liberal runs their campaign during the whole campaign session of election is their business. Barnaby Joyce ran a good campaign for the National Party, and we were rewarded with extra people in our party room. So, we went out there, we were promoting the plebiscite for the same-sex marriage vote. I support that. We took it to the people, Emma. All we're trying to do is introduce a policy that we took to the people, and I think the Senate should let us do that.
You took many policies to the people. It's hard to determine which one you have a mandate on and which one you don't. Giving polling companies have asked Australians countless times whether they want same-sex marriage, and it generally always comes back about 3/4 of the public saying they do.
Well, hang on. The news poll last month, in early July last month, said that 46% of people now want a plebiscite, 39 don't.
Yeah, but they don't want it when they know it's not binding.
Even 42% of Labor voters want a plebiscite, so you can argue the polls which way you want. But the fact is we went to an election with a policy, we're trying to introduce that policy, we get slammed when we reverse decisions after election. We're trying to bring in a policy we went to the people with, and here we are at a stalemate again, so hopefully it'll get through the Senate.
Now, aren't voters entitled to be a little confused? Malcolm Turnbull took over from Tony Abbott saying he'd be the better economic manager. And here we are with your government committing to a non-binding, non-compulsory postal plebiscite that's entirely unnecessary because you could just have a vote on the floor of the Parliament that's going to cost $122 million.
Democracy doesn't come cheap, Emma. It's a very expensive game we live in, but it's still the best one of all. But look, if the yes vote gets through, whether it be through a plebiscite, compulsory vote, or a postal vote plebiscite, you could bet your life that it'll pass through the Parliament, as sure as I talk to you now.
OK, on the Commonwealth Bank scandal, because it's an issue that you've campaigned strongly to address, we now understand that the bank knew it had a problem with its deposit machines that people were using to potentially fund terrorism. They knew they had those problems, and yet 3 months after that discovery, the bank was boasting about those very machines we now know were used to launder money on no fewer than 53,000 occasions.
Yeah, Emma, quite amazing story by Adele Ferguson in Fairfax online tonight and no doubt in the paper tomorrow. April 2015, they knew they had problems, and what happened was that in August 2015 they had a graph out gloating about how their increase in IDM use depositing money that way into the bank had grown from 11% to 52%. And this is a really serious problem for the Commonwealth Bank if these allegations are true, and that'll take a long time for the court to run its case, no doubt. But, you know, terrorists, what do terrorists do? They kill innocent men, women and children. And if there's been a failure there under these allegations directed towards the Commonwealth Bank, if it's assisted money going overseas to terrorist organisations, that is really serious. And we've seen some problems with the Commonwealth Bank, whether it be back in 2009 with Storm Financial, whether it be the financial planning, whether it be Com Insurance and the way they paid claims. And now these allegations, well, I think this is the most serious of all, in my opinion.
Are you going to ask the Prime Minister to reconsider his opposition to a Bank Royal Commission?
No, I haven't done that as yet, but can I say about a Royal Commission, I've asked one for 8 years. I wish we'd had one 8 years ago, even several years ago when we recommended, the Economics Committee recommended a Royal Commission after the inquiry into ASIC and the financial planning scandal.
But do you think, sorry for the interruption, do you think this latest scandal really drills that point home?
I think what happens when you get these latest scandals like this, Emma, more people out there in Australia say, look, where's the Royal Commission? I think the people lean more when it's scandal after scandal. They say to themselves and to their friends, where is the Royal Commission?
Now, the boss of the Commonwealth Bank, Ian Narev, says he's determined to stay as the chief to lead the company through this latest debacle. The board says they're backing him. He's taken a $3 million pay cut, so he'll only be paid $9 million this year. What's your take on that?
I don't think Ian Narev will be moonlighting for an extra $1 or $2 as the year goes on, but look, I think, frankly, the board would be discussed in this latest scandal. They'd be very annoyed about it, and how they address it, who knows. But the court will run its case. It'll be a long time if the court does go right through to a decision by the judge and then perhaps an appeal case. But look, I think heads should roll if they're found to be guilty. But these are allegations, and as I said, we'll let the court run its case, Emma.
But as you said yourself, this is about the third or fourth scandal to hit the bank since Ian Narev took over. Does it seem odd to you that he's still there, that his head, being the one at the top of the tree, is still escaping any ramifications?
Well, I'm sure he's under a bit of pressure at the moment. I'm sure the board are talking to him, and they declare their profits, I think, tomorrow. He'll have a lot to say then, no doubt. But, yeah, when you have scandal after scandal, anyone to the public becomes cynical of the banks and perhaps lose trust in them. When I was a young fella back in the 70s, Emma, the person you trusted the most in your community was the local bank manager. Sadly, that is not the case today.
John Williams, appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma.